Joseph, we hear today that if Scotland votes yes to independence, then Royal Bank of Scotland and Lloyds Bank would both move their registrations from Scotland to England. Is this shock news? Should we be at all surprised by this?
No, I don't think it is. I think they wouldn't have done anything else other than re-domicile. The only question is why, and it's all pretty pragmatic. Why would a global bank like RBS, which needs a credit rating to operate, stay in a sovereign which would be newly minted, wouldn't have debt, and therefore wouldn't have a credit rating? And if it did, would probably have a lower credit rating than the UK itself, and therefore that would mean higher funding costs for RBS's sort of holding company.
And also less certainty about how they would operate in a crisis and what kind of government support they could count on.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, in the 2008 crisis, RBS needed about £30 billion overall of emergency liquidity assistance. So not just even normal central bank operations. This was liquidity provided against probably quite inadequate collateral, and for which, critically, the Bank of England effectively needed a sovereign guarantee from the UK government, because the UK government's credit was seen as good enough to effectively replace whatever collateral RBS was offering. Now, if you look at what an independent Scottish sovereign would look like, it would be in charge of an economy where, you know, banking assets were sort of 12 times the size of that economy. There's the same sort of deposit insurance liabilities. It would be, you know, quite a shrunken state. You could not extend, from the BOE's perspective, you know, a liquidity against a foreign sovereign guarantee, and especially not a sovereign like that.
So no surprise then that these two very big banks, Lloyds and RBS, would want to decamp to England in the case of Scottish independence. What's perhaps more surprising, though, is that we've also heard today from Clydesdale, a much smaller bank, more of a retail, standard retail and commercial bank, that it too will move to England. But is it not the case that an independent Scotland should also aspire to have an independent banking system that is the correct size to finance the Scottish economy?
Yeah, absolutely, but it will take time getting there. You know, if it became independent, it would be going through the process of applying for EU membership. It would be setting up a central bank, and so on, before it could really, and also possibly trying to demerge in some way the operations of RBS and Lloyds, which of course, you know, contain fairly decent-sized Scottish banks themselves. So that would all have to be done before you got to this right-sized banking system, I think.
In the meantime, then, we face the fairly strange possibility that Scotland will go from having being home to a large chunk of the UK's banking system to being home to none at all in the event of independence. Joseph, thanks very much.